This is the 2025 Mercedes Benz G580 with EQ technology. Is it worth every penny? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. I borrowed this G-Wagon for my friends at Mercedes Benz of Shreveport. If you are interested in this particular model, check out the link down in the description of the video. Make sure you ask for DJ Cox when you come into the dealership. And while it looks extremely familiar, there are some subtle changes for the 2025 model year. And we'll start here on the front end. You're going to have what really equates to your classic look, but you can notice some differences with the grille. Obviously, being that this is electrified, there are going to be some changes in that area. You still have your nice large Mercedes-Benz logo and functionality here to keep the battery cool, all that good stuff. There is your front camera. And we'll have our full LED lighting with the LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and LED turn signals built in right here. And you'll also find all-wheel drive. And being that while it's advertised to do 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds, there have been real-world tests done that have seen that 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. We're going to have the 20-inch AMG 10-spoke wheels. What do you think about that? Do you think those wheels belong here? Always curious to know. We'll give you a quick look inside of the fender well area at what everything looks like, at least as best as I can as far as the shocks and the suspension and all those different components go where that is concerned. And with your side view mirrors, every feature that I know a lot of you like will be here. Turn signal indicators are built in. They're heated. They're power adjustable. And they also have blind spot monitoring built in right there. And you can push this button right here and see the last function that I wanted to share with you about the side view mirrors. They're also going to be power folding. And obviously, we can't do a G-Wagon video without hearing the sound of the doors closing. Now, one thing that I have to say I like here, you have the illuminated door sills, even though it's going to be very difficult to see that here in the sunlight. But I like the design right here with the Mercedes-Benz name and then what we have on each side. Something a little bit different as far as that goes. You will also find the AMG floor mats. Don't worry, we're going to take a closer look at the interior in just a bit. One thing that's very nice about the G-Wagon is the nice tall windows. It's very easy to see out of. We'll also find underbody skid plating to help keep things nice and safe, and something that will also be different for 2025, the reshaped A-pillar. I like the size of the windows. It's very easy to see out of, and as long as you don't have anyone in the middle seat, in this back seat area, it is so easy to see out of this back window. That makes things very simple. I like that. LED taillights. Kind of hard to see, but we do have the turn signal indicator turned on over here on the right-hand side. That makes it a little bit easier. Now, it may look like you have a spare tire here, which would be nice for an EV, but that is not the case. I'll push the button right there and we'll open things up. This is actually where your charging cable goes. You can see what all you can do right here because it gives you some information right there. You could store other things here as well if you wanted to. We got the net right there. But overall, that is what you have as far as the exterior goes. The rear door is very easy to open. I like that. It's not real heavy. If, say, you were looking at a Land Rover Defender, the back door on those, because of the tire that is there, makes it very heavy and a little bit more challenging to open. I also like the fact that for those of us living in America, it's easy because it opens to the left, because obviously when we park, everything is typically going to be on the the right-hand side of the vehicle, so that will make it more convenient to load and offload cargo if we need to do that. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that 0 to 60 is potentially 4.1 seconds, but is said to be by the manufacturer 4.6 seconds. You have 4 electric motors here. All of that combined puts out 579 horsepower and 859 pounds-feet of torque. It is all-wheel drive, and you have a 200 kilowatt DC fast charging system. Top speed is 112 miles per hour. And guess what? I can show you what's under the giant plastic cover right here. For those of you that wanted to know, and yes, don't worry, I will put that back in place and snap everything back down so that it's nice and safe and secure. And how about your MPGEs? 68 city, 56 highway, 62 combined, and 54 kilowatt hours per every 100 miles driven. Driving distance on a single charge is about 239 miles. If you own one of these G580s, tell me what kind of numbers you have been achieving. And how about your charging times? If you go with a 9.6 kilowatt on-board charger, you're looking at 10 to 100% in 13.6 hours. With the up to 200 kilowatt recharges, you're looking at 10 to 80% in about 32 minutes. Tell me what you think about those numbers. Here's your charge port. It's located right here. You're just going to push that and open it up. You can use a fast charger if you so desire to do so. You can tow up to 7,716 pounds. Cargo space ranges between 38.1 up to 68.6 cubic feet, depending on whether or not you have the seat backs in their upright position. The cargo cover is removable. I am a little surprised at one thing, and that is the lack of LED lighting here in your cargo area. Kind of an interesting little thing to see. Now let's talk about what your second row passengers will find. Now this area, as far as the armrest goes, is comfortable. I do find that the door handle gets in a little bit of the way where that's concerned, at least for me. Some people might say that's no problem. The outboard seats are heated, and there's a good bit of space within the door bin. Now, if you're wondering about how to lower these seats as I had them earlier, well, the first thing you have to do is grab the release right here. You pull up on that, and then there is another release right there. And that is what you need to do to lower these seats down and maximize cargo capacity. And via that same lever, we answer a question that is commonly asked. Do the seat backs recline? And you can see that they do. They actually recline quite a bit. And one more question to be answered that I know some people have. How far do the windows go down? Well, not quite all the way would be the answer. Now, there is a lot of airflow potential for your rear seat passengers because you have the air conditioning vent right there in the door pillar. We'll also find air conditioning vents on the rear of the center console, and you can control temperature and fan speed right here. You can see that you have your USB connectivity right there, and we'll also have a 12-volt power outlet. Rear seat pockets on the back of each seat, and the fold-down armrest with the cup holders built in. One thing that is a little bit of a surprise here is the lack of a panoramic sunroof. Tell me what your thoughts are where that is concerned. Now, that will open, and as you can see, you have the manual shade that can be moved out of the way. The sticker price is $169,655. Let's see what else you get for that price. Now you can see over on the passenger side door panel that you have, once again, the armrest, nice space with the door bin, and you'll have seat memory, heated and ventilated seats, and all of the controls for managing the position of the seat. A lot going on there. There is an oh crap handle right here, which is actually something that could be very necessary when you drop the quiet pedal here on the G-Class for 2025. There is your glove box, plenty of room in there, a little bit of carbon fiber right there as well. But a very nice look. It still retains the G-Class look as far as the G-Wagon goes. To a large degree, it's not completely gone, so that should make a lot of people very happy. We already saw our controls here for our side view mirrors, everything for your windows, and you can lock the windows or unlock the windows right there. And once again, everything for our seat controls here. Power parking brake is located right here. And I like that you have a lot of physical controls here. As far as your headlights go, you can turn those on, you can turn them off, whatever you want to do. You can set them to auto. Quite a bit going on where that's concerned. Very nice, very convenient. And then the lever right here allows for adjusting the tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. And over here, we're going to have the controls for our wipers and turn signal indicators. That's nice to see, because that way, if you want to let people around you know what you're doing, you can use your blinkers and do that. And you'll even see the likeness of your G-Wagon there on the center of the driver's display. Notice that the turn signal indicators work there, not only on the rear, but also on the side view mirrors. When we put our foot on the brake, the brake lights will come on, and you might not be able to tell, but you do have some illumination in front of the G-Wagon on the screen right there when the headlights are turned on. So very nice to see some of the interesting little bits that are here. Here's your shifter very nice, very compact, not too much, but it is in a convenient location. It's not a push button shifter. That seems to be something a lot of people don't like. And you can control what you see on your screen right here, depending on what you want. If you want navigation, you can see what I'm doing. Let me get over there and show you that. Push the home button one more time. That allows us to go through and look at whatever it is we want to, or bring up the different looks, I should say, the designs as far as that goes. So if you're curious to know, are you stuck with just one view? No, you're not. In fact, you have your off-road view right here. And yeah, the G-Wagon is capable off-road. I don't know how many people would actually take it off-road. If you had one and you did that and made a YouTube channel out of it, I imagine you would do very well, depending on what you're willing to try. And everything on the right-hand side of the steering wheel, once again, we can work our way through everything if we want to. We can bring up our navigation, and all I'm doing is just basically doing the same thing I did with the left-hand side. Now, you'll get your information as far as your battery goes. We have 91% charge capacity. That means we can drive 226 miles, as you can see right here. And it gives you a lot of good information here, depending on what you need. Charging, you have range right here. There's a lot going on that makes this a very interesting vehicle to drive. Different things you can look at that I think are really cool. So depending on what you want to know about, you can see that you can make quite a few changes here. Nice graphics that go with everything. And then when we're ready to go home, we just go right there. You can manage everything with your phone. You can wirelessly pair that, the radio, you've got media, and your apps right here, if you want to know about that. And one thing I normally show you long before this point in the video is the key fob, the remote. There it is. Now you'll notice there is no remote start on the key fob itself. That's because it's in the Mercedes Me app that will be on your smartphone. So you have it, it's just not located where a lot of us are used to it. So that's just one of those things. Here's some of your other features that you have here, including your browser. You have the built-in dash cam. So there's a lot going on here, but there is so much that I almost am tempted to make a video solely on the center screen by itself, because you do have a lot you can do here. You have your massage seats. You can change that up. You can go in here to seat, and there's the lumbar support, your side bolsters, all of that. And you can even set the bolsters to actually be active to the point that when you're going through corners and turns, that depending on what they need to do, they'll move the right direction on the right side, the left side, all that good stuff. And your ambient lighting, something that I think Mercedes-Benz does better than anybody else in the industry. And 64 different colors, as you can see right here. Now, you also have your multi-color designs as well. So depending on what you want, you have quite a few different options. Very bright. Now, I can't show it to you right now because it's not dark enough and it's not nighttime. Can't always do that. It's just one of those things. But just to show you a little bit of what's here, earlier in the video, I mentioned this G-Wagon is off-road capable, although most people will never take advantage of that. But you can see right here that you have a lot of different details that can be used for that exact thing, depending on what it is you want to know about. Now, if you want to be able to see around the vehicle, we can bring up the multiple camera views. You can see that we can see the overhead view right here. That's a much larger view, or we can look from the rear view. There's the front view. I showed you the front view camera earlier in the video. And then we have our side views right here. So there's a little something literally for everybody here. Now, how about info? We go right here, and there is a lot. Like I say, not only is there useful information here, but very nice graphics. It's going to let you know what's going on depending on what it is you need to know. And you can even see everything with the accelerator, and you can see, you can't hear it, you can only see that I'm touching the accelerator with my foot. And there is the braking up to 100% right there. Some really cool features here. It may look like a lot, but believe it or not, it's not difficult to learn and use. Like I said, not going to cover everything, just want to run through a few things and show you some of the features and functionality here, but it's easy to deal with. I like that. Moving on to the air conditioning controls, I am so happy that Mercedes-Benz has not moved all of this from physical buttons to the center screen. So that's nice to have. We also have some off-road details here. We can go back to our off-road cockpit right there, and depending on what you need to do as far as that goes, well, you have a few different options right there. There's your wireless charging pad and some of the USB connectivity, our cup holders, and we have the trackpad right here. If you don't want to actually touch the screen, well, guess what? you don't have to. You can just use the trackpad to work your way around like that and select whatever it is you need to select. So that's nice to see some of our one-touch buttons. We go ahead and go into individual right there. You also have comfort. We'll have trail and rock. And once again, you're going to have those very nice, crisp, clear graphics. Everything for managing the radio is right here. Now, you do have the MBUX system where you can talk to you-know-who. I'm not going to say it right now because I'll get an answer, and we're not going to do that at the moment. But you can ask practically endless questions. That's very nice to have. And you can see some of our other things that we have here as far as navigation goes. You can bring the map up, all that good stuff. And the bomb bay doors, nothing out of the ordinary here with Mercedes-Benz. Quite a bit of space within the center console. And speaking of consoles, here's the upper console. You can see what we have as far as that goes and the different options and the speaker right here. There are speakers all throughout the interior of this G-Wagon. And I told you about all the speakers that you have throughout the interior. This is the Burmeister Premium Sound System, and here is a quick sampling for those who want to hear that. I hope that does it justice as far as what my microphone can pick up. I can tell you that in person, it sounds phenomenal. All right, here we go on our test drive, and something that might surprise a lot of people is how quick this G580 is. If you get somebody in the passenger seat that is completely unsuspecting, it will definitely surprise you. And you might have noticed a little bit of sound coming in. So while this is an EV, you have some engine sound. So kind of an interesting thing. But you know what? That adds to the driving experience, because I know from experience in other EVs, no matter how quick they are, it just does not have the exact same experience to it when you can't hear the motor. Now, I know not everybody is going to take that approach, but for me, that is definitely something that is missing when I drive an EV. I'm likely to never own one, but who knows? You never know what might happen down the road one day. But overall, a very enjoyable vehicle to drive. When you need to get up and go, it will get up and go. Now, I am driving in sport mode, so we're going to pull it back to comfort and see what the difference is as soon as we make our turn right here. But overall, I can tell that the ride quality is actually very good. So let's see what we can do here with our turning radius. It is a good turning radius. I can't really tell a huge difference. It still gets up and goes in comfort mode. So one way or another, you can get up and you really feel the front end lifting up. It doesn't come off the ground. I'm not trying to say that, but you can feel that it's almost as if this G-Wagon really wants to lift the front tires up. There's a lot of torque here, so you're definitely going to feel that when you drop the power pedal, or what I like to refer to as the quiet pedal. Easy to learn technology here. That's nice. It looks modern, but that doesn't mean it's complicated. And there's plenty of room. The driver's seat very much adjustable in a multitude of ways, so no matter your height, you should be able to fit here just fine. The roof line is really high up, so that helps out a lot. And the steering wheel being adjustable, so that being a common question a lot of people ask is, can somebody who's 5 feet tall or over 6 feet tall fit? Well, yes is the answer to that question. And the brake and the gas pedal, easy to manage. You can go with one pedal driving if you want to, which means when you take your foot off of the power pedal, the vehicle automatically starts slowing down without touching the brake. Now, you can still use the brake just like you would normally, but it will stop a little bit differently than it would otherwise if you turn one pedal driving off. It takes a little bit of getting used to, at least in my personal opinion. But one of the things about that is that it is using kinetic energy to recharge the battery or keep the charge capacity up with the braking. So a very interesting system. A lot of technology here. A very unique vehicle, that's for sure. No matter what type of G-Wagon you might have, whether it's this 25 model or an older one, they're very interesting, very unique, and Mercedes-Benz has done a pretty good job, I'd say, of preserving the heritage of the G-Wagon, even going EV as they have done with this particular model. But I tell you what, it is a unique experience for those who haven't ridden in something like this and are not expecting all of the power and torque that is provided here that will definitely open the eyes wide of the sleepiest passenger. And there it is, the 2025 Mercedes Benz G580. Is it worth every penny? Well, obviously to the right person it is, but I'm curious to know what everybody else thinks down in the comments section. I'd like to say a special thanks to my friends at Mercedes Benz of Shreveport for loaning me this G-Wagon for the day so I could tell you all about it. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. Please be sure to hit the like button. That's very helpful to me. Make sure to subscribe and please share this video on your timelines on social media so other people can see it. If you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.